okay, this might just be this entire Bitcoin thing, this entire cryptocurrency thing. This is just a pump and dump, or this is just a bubble that, as you all know, when you talk about bubbles, when bubbles burst, they massively drop, and then they don't go back again. I was also thinking about that this might just be a scam. This might not actually go anywhere anymore. Hey guys, so in the previous video, I gave my 2 cents on what I believe are NFT projects, or how I would categorize NFTs that I would like to invest in, or best NFT projects for me, or how do I categorize investments that are really, really good for me. In this video, I want to talk about what are crypto projects that I think are highly good. What I'm sharing here are things that are really personal to me. It would be primarily how I would also analyze things, and it could be different for all of you, but this is just how I see it, with the exception of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin for me will always be the alpha dog. Bitcoin will always be the best crypto out there. Since it has been there for the longest time, it has shown staying power already, it has institutional support, it's been there for so many years already, it has been to so many dumps, but it has gone up again. Please do note this, when I was starting out, I would always think about that, okay, this might just be this entire Bitcoin thing, this entire cryptocurrency thing. This is just a pump and dump, or this is just a bubble that, as you all know, when you talk about bubbles, when bubbles burst, they massively drop, and then they don't go back again. I was also thinking about that this might just be a scam. This might not actually go anywhere anymore. But please do note this, that since it's not a scam, since it's not a bubble, we've seen it over and over the past years that as it started to drop, it has bounced back. We've seen it, especially one of the biggest ones in 2017, 2018, from almost 19, 20,000 to 3,000. We've seen it also last year hit 64,000, go back to 28, only to see it go back to 69, to where it is right now, somewhere around the 40,000 mark. So for me, the top cryptocurrency still will be Bitcoin. So it will be excluded from what I want to share, at least in the parameters of how I'm analyzing things, because you'll know in a bit why I'm saying Bitcoin is still part of the list. Because when you start analyzing new ones, there will be some things that may be conflicting to what actually Bitcoin is. I want to say this also, that in times of uncertainty, people flock to Bitcoin. In times of uncertainty, people don't flock to the next altcoin. In times of uncertainty, people don't flock to the altcoin that has a lot of speculative value. People flock into Bitcoin. But that being said, if you're coming in right now into the crypto space, spend a lot of time into projects that have a lot of utility. Don't just buy at the hope of going up. You buy at the hope that there might be a lot of hype and speculation in this, that this will go up over a period of time. Don't do it that way. That's the best way to lose money. You will lose a lot of money if you're just in it, just thinking that it will actually moon. If that token or that crypto does not have any use, but the only use for it is for people to sell later on at a higher price and to bring it back to a stable coin, or to bring it back to fiat, then it will have a lot of selling pressure that will prevent it from going up. Or it may have a hard time going up, because every time it starts to go up, people will just be taking profits because there's no actual use for it. So if there's one thing that you should avoid, if you are in this for the long term, and you're not just in it just to trade, but you're in this, that these are projects that I would really like to spend a lot of time on. I really want to build a base. I would really love to build volume on. If the project has no use, no matter if it has a burning mechanism, no matter if it has limited supply, no matter if it can be staked or whatever, if there's no real use case for it, if people are not buying it because they want to use it for something, then it becomes harder. And that's why I said the exception is Bitcoin, because at the end of the day, Bitcoin is a store of value. Bitcoin is digital gold. People don't buy Bitcoin for what it could actually do. People buy Bitcoin for what it represents. People buy Bitcoin for what it could actually do up against fiat, up against gold, up against all the traditional assets. But head to head, up against other cryptocurrencies, of course, Bitcoin is the slowest. Bitcoin can do a lot of things as compared to the other smart contract blockchains. Let's just leave it at that. But if you're pitting it against other cryptocurrencies out there that's not Bitcoin, please do remember this, that there has to be a use. And it's not just supposed to be a store of value, to be a medium of exchange, that there has to be a major reason why people want to get it. It shouldn't just be you putting it into something, staking it, and getting a return. Because the thing about just staking it and getting a return, when the only reason also for people holding it is that they will get more from it, and as they get more from it, they will just sell it. And again, it creates selling pressure. And if supply is unlimited, or if there's a lot out there, the market cap gets bigger, and everyone who owns the tokens also will start to sell as well. One of the biggest mistakes of a lot of people is they buy it for the sake of selling it later. But if there's no other reason for why people will hold on to it or actually buy it later, then it won't hold its value. This may sound super corny, but that's why Ethereum is amazing. That's why Polygon is so amazing. That's why, to some degree, also Solana, Avalanche, Luna becomes very interesting. Why? People who want to buy NFTs, they have no choice, especially in the Ethereum ecosystem, which is one of the largest NFT ecosystems out there, which has one of the largest transactions, which is one of the largest volumes, which a lot of people who want to enter into the space are just trying to flip their fiat to Ethereum to ETH so that they can buy the NFTs that they actually like. That's a use case. That's a good example of, okay, I want to buy ETH not just for the sake of selling it higher, but I want to buy ETH because I want to use it to spend it on something. I want to buy a metaverse land. I want to buy an object in the metaverse. I want to buy this EFE NFT. I want to buy this object inside the game, or I want to get it because it will give me access to tokens, or it will give me an airdrop which I can also use for something. And that's what's interesting about it, because please do notice when people buy NFTs, some of them just hodl those NFTs and it stays there, and the money or the crypto that they use to be able to buy it is ETH. So please do notice that it just doesn't have to be ETH. Matic does that, Solana does that, Avalanche does that to some degree, Cardano also has NFTs. There's a lot of other blockchains also that has utility. It's just that comparing it to all of them at where we are right now, and provided that Ethereum is so slow, Ethereum is not yet scalable, Ethereum is not yet at ETH 2.0, there's a lot of people using it. With the exception of Bitcoin, the ones that will be superior are the ones that people will actually use. The ones that are superior are the ones that if it's a blockchain, people are building apps on top of it. If they're building dApps, regardless if it's DeFi, regardless if it's GameFi, regardless if it's an NFT project, regardless if it does something else, there has to be a use for the token in that ecosystem. Because if the project alone will stand without any use of that token, then that token was just used as a funding mechanism. That token was just used to raise capital. But what happens when the capital has been raised? What happens when people already bought those tokens to have money? What's going to be the use for it? There has to be a use for it, because if it's not going to be used, it does not have any utility, it will not hold value. You can look at projects regardless if they're highly connected to GameFi, or they're highly connected to DeFi, or they're highly connected to any other project, but if the only reason for people buying it is just to stake it and then to sell later on, there will be a lot of selling pressure there. You want cryptocurrencies that will last. You want cryptocurrencies that will be good. You want cryptocurrencies that there will be a lot of general adoption. Then look for something that people will use over and over, that people will want to buy, not just for the intention of selling it later at a higher price, not just for the intention of staking it and getting the rewards from staking, and then as they get the rewards from staking, they will sell that reward, especially if it's just the same token, meaning you buy this token, stake that token, the reward is also that token, it just inflates it, and then there will be selling pressure, the market cap will be higher. As the market cap becomes higher, it will be hard for that to get appreciation. Those who bought at a higher price also may not be satisfied anymore, considering there might be others that might be doing well and they might also sell. So that's what I'm saying. Whereas the ones that people buy because there's a real use for it, then that's what makes it very interesting. There's a lot of truth also that the ones that have a lot of use right now have gone up massively. That's the reality. The ones that have a lot of use have gone up a lot. So you have maybe three options. Your first option is they may be higher, it limits your upside, but at least you know it has staying power. If you're okay with that, those are the categories of cryptos that you look for, especially from where we are right now. The ones with staying power, although they're a bit higher already, but because we're still early also in this space, because not a lot of people are using crypto yet, that this entire space also will just get more adoption as the years go by, the use for those tokens and projects may actually also increase. Number two perspective is you look at those tokens also, the same projects, but wait for a massive correction. Wait for it to go down a lot. For example, look at Ethereum. Ethereum came from 4,800. It's at 3,000 right now while I'm recording this video. It has gone down. If you want to be more patient, and you want to be very specific, set up price ranges on where you want to buy them. It could be at 3,000 because it has gone down massively from 4,800. But you can also set, if it goes to 2.8, if it goes to 2.6, if it goes to 2.5, you get to stack actually more. The name of the game still will be buying low and having the patience that up until the price where you want to sell it gets hit, you're not supposed also to do anything. So if you notice, the two underlying themes here is, number one, you want the ones that are really good and you can position in them right now, but it limits your upside. Or you can still go for the ones that are really good, but you need to deploy patience up until it drops a lot and you get a larger amount of upside. Or number three, which in my opinion, this will give you more risk and this will require you to study more, is to look for and study projects that are new, that will have a chance to get utility, that are so game-changing that even if there are current players already right now, because they're so game-changing, they're so good, because they have a lot of promise, even though there's more risk attached to it, it will still be a very, very good proposition. But the problem with that is, because there's a lot already that's out right now, you may need to research, you may need to do your due diligence because there's a lot to filter out on. And that's why I keep hammering it also. Please take the time to study, because it will allow you also to figure out which are the ones that you can easily take out already, that this project may not be so good, this is just also all hype. So that's how you can actually approach it. That I don't want to focus on the ones that have gone up already. I'll focus on the ones that are relatively new, but have a lot of promise. But please do note that anything that's new, anything that has a lot of potential, anything that has larger upside will subject you to a larger amount of risk. How do you protect yourself from that amount of risk also? Again, put an amount of money that is as part of your diversification technique, something that it's okay should it go to zero, because there's a bigger chance that they may go to zero. Please do note that the newer projects will have a bigger chance that they may go to zero versus the ones that are more established, versus the ones that have institutional support already, versus the ones that have been there for quite some time already. Aside from diversifying properly, it's knowing the people behind it, knowing how they're running it, knowing how they will actually follow through with it, and knowing the merits of the project as well. And maybe also having the perspective that you're thinking about it from a lens of a startup business, startup enterprise, a startup project, that a large chunk of startup projects fail, and that maybe out of 10 that you will invest in, spread your money there, 8 may fail, 1 will be okay, but the last one will be the one that will compensate for everything and give you much, much more. So I guess that's how you can actually also approach it. But again, focus on the one that will give you a lot of utility. Focus on the one that it's not just the burning mechanism, the staking mechanism, it's not just the tokenomics. It's the use of that particular token that will allow it to have a lot of promise for the long term. And that's why Facebook is amazing. Why? Because people use Facebook every day. That's why Google is amazing, because people use the products of Google on a daily basis. Look at crypto, look at these tokens as software. The ones that have the most use, the ones that have the most people building on it, the ones that have the most users, the ones that people will stick to it and use it over and over, will have a better chance of survival in this wild, wild space that we are in right now. Because there's a lot of pumps, there's a lot of dumps, even the good ones get dumped on, but if the good ones get dumped on, there's a bigger chance that they bounce back versus the ones that don't really have any merit, versus the ones that have been going up just because of hype, just because of speculation, just because of the promise that it may moon someday. Never ever buy something based on a promise that it will moon. Never ever buy something just because you hear it off YouTube. Never ever buy something just because people talk about it. It has to be you who should take the time to learn it. It has to be you who should take the time to be good at it and build the base so that you have full conviction when you're investing. Summarize everything that I said, focus on utility. The best projects that will have the most use, in my opinion, are the ones that will prevail over the long term. If you want to know more about stocks, crypto, NFTs, we have webinars. Links are in the description. If you want to know more about technical analysis, we also have webinars and books down below, available via Shopee and Lazada. And if you want to invest in the crypto market, we have crypto exchanges right there. You can just click them to actually try them as well. So I hope you guys got a lot from this. This is Marvin Germo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, and God bless you all.